Bill, as you know, we have rather restrictive areas where they do play high school lacrosse. So it sort of limits my job, like there are only 5 schools in the Virginia area that have lacrosse on the prep school level. Then we have schools in the Baltimore area, the Long Island area, Philadelphia, and upstate New York. But I work very much like our football and basketball coaches, where we attempt to find young men that are interested primarily in attending Washington Lee, a fine liberal arts school, and then secondly in playing lacrosse or football or whatever else our particular sport is. And I'm pleased with the response that we had. For example, this year, I would say we had about 50 young men apply to Washington Lee that have had a lacrosse background. Now, this is sifted down to about 20 young men that have played some type of lacrosse that will be coming into school next year.
What type of player does it take? What type of young man does it take to play lacrosse?
Well, I think number one at Washington Lee, a young man that's willing to give up a lot of spring activity. And the second thing, a boy who's a runner. He must be able to run above all else. And we find that maybe a boy who's had some experience in distance running, and a football player, especially a back or an end, that has some endurance, that this is important. We find that possibly a tackle or a defensive specialist who doesn't have a great deal of endurance would make a pretty poor lacrosse player. Some people that have been great lacrosse players have been Jim Brown, who was an excellent lacrosse player, Mackey, who plays for the Colts. There were over 5 boys this past year that played in the Super Bowl that had been lacrosse players.